I'm not usually that political on here, but let's talk politics. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back, and today I will be checking Lincoln off the 1001 movie checklist. If you do not know what the 1000 movie checklist or 1000 movie challenge is, it is basically a challenge I've given myself to check every single film off the 1000 movies you must see before you die book. So far, I've checked 189 films off the list. If you want to know more, you can check my playlist up there with every single film I have checked off so far and an intro video. And for the first time ever, this episode of the 1000 movie challenge is sponsored by one of my lovely patrons, Javier Hernandez. If you would like to learn how to become a producer for the 1001 movie challenge or become a patron of mine, you can check out the links in the description down below. As always, let's get started with a short summary. At the height of the American Civil War, President Lincoln struggles with the continuing carnage on the battlefield as he fights with many inside his own cabinet on the decision to emancipate the slaves. When this movie first came out in 2012, I was very interested in going to see it, but never ended up seeing it or even renting it. I'm a big history buff, and I was interested to learn a little bit more about Abraham Lincoln and the Civil War, even though it's not like a solid Abraham Lincoln Civil War biopic type thing. I was also really interested in seeing it because of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then I think another reason why it maybe dropped off my radar was because I was told that Joseph Gordon-Levitt wasn't necessarily in this as much, and that reigns true. And I'm not like a huge fan of what they do with his character and his relationship with his father, which is Abraham Lincoln / Daniel Day-Lewis. I'll get into that in a second. I had also heard somewhat middling reviews of it, that it wasn't like the best Steven Spielberg movie. It was kind of in his downward slope of a trajectory. And once I watched it, I kind of can see why. It is a very well done film. The direction of the characters, the way the film looks in general is really beautiful. The book talks a lot about the writing in the film, but I was kind of bored throughout most of it. It is a fairly long film as well. And the writing of it is really kind of what I'm not a huge fan of in this. The pacing, especially towards the beginning, feels very off. The introduction to Mary Todd Lincoln and Tad Lincoln's characters felt very long and drawn out and did not really click with me. As much as I love Sally Field's portrayal of Mary Todd, as well as Daniel Day-Lewis's portrayal of Lincoln, I just could not really connect with their characters. And what really lacks in this film for me is the family story stuff fits in with the political stuff. I feel like they are very at odds, and it feels like you're watching almost two different movies, except for in these small parts of the film where these two stories collide. Like when they are throwing a party at the White House and Mary Todd comes up to Tommy Lee Jones's character and gives him this beautiful monologue about why the United States citizens really love President Lincoln. He is a man of the people, and you really feel and understand that. And that's the only, one of the very few times that the familial parts of this story, of this film, really connected with me and showed a through line to the rest of the story. Yes, there are other little bits and pieces. There is the small through line of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character wanting to go to war and Lincoln not wanting him to, but it's also at the same time he does it anyways and there's no repercussions, except for Sally Fields having this beautiful emotional moment. Sally Fields really just, takes the cake in this film for me, even though Daniel Day-Lewis, of course, is such a transformative actor. And Sally Fields has this beautiful emotional monologue in the room of one of their deceased children, and it's like the family stuff just kind of gets in the way of the political drama that it feels like what the movie is really aiming at. And as much as I really liked the political stuff, there were times where it extended a little bit too far and got a little bit too into the politics of it, and I got a little bit bored. And not that I really will get into politics much on here. It was interesting to me to see the political divide in the 1800s was very, very similar, but extremely opposite on party lines as it is in the American political system today. And the final thing I really want to touch on a little bit more is Spielberg's directing. It feels as if he is wanting to create one of his classic epic films like Jaws or Jurassic Park, but he only gets halfway there. It is a very well made film, but like I was just saying, the family bits feel just very tossed in there, and some of the emotional bits, like when his children are upset after he gets shot during the play, don't feel as connected to me as they probably could have, especially Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. I feel like he just didn't have enough time for them to build on their relationship. I felt like it could have shown a little bit more. Maybe it could have done more family stuff and less political stuff, or more political stuff and less family stuff, to really get the point across of what they were trying to go for and get a little bit more of that emotionality. If that makes sense. I feel like I just kind of went on a random tangent. I maybe blocked out for a second there. Fun fact before we get to the clip, Spielberg wore a suit to set every single day to blend in a little bit more with the actors. Really has nothing else to do with this video or the film or my thoughts on it. I just thought that was a fun fact, and if you've listened to my podcast, you know I love a good fun fact. And now finally the clip. I chose this clip because it really sets a tone for the film. It happens at the beginning of the film, and it really sets the tone for just how much President Lincoln meant to Americans, but especially to Black Union soldiers.
That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom. And that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
And that is all I have for Lincoln. As always, these are just my opinions, but I'd love to know yours in the comments down below. What did you think of this Spielberg, I wouldn't say classic or masterpiece, but what do you think of this Spielberg work? If you want to know which films I've already watched or just follow my progress along in general, there is a link to a Google Doc in the description down below with every single film I've checked off so far, or you can just check my list on Letterboxd. I'm also an Amazon affiliate, so if you'd like to start the challenge for yourself, watch the movie I talked about today, or watch the movie I'm going to be talking about next time, you can find links to them in the description down below, and if you purchase anything from those links, I'll get a small percentage that'll help make this channel even better. And the movie for next time, I wanted to go with something a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun, and I wanted to go back to the days of old Hollywood with Swing Time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate you. Whoever you are, let me know here in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking about these movies, TV shows, filmmaking, history, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!